so it be. Greetings, divine seekers. I present to you the energy of all that came before. I present to you the energy of all that is and of all that is yet to come. My name is Lemuaya of Tachyonic Service, and it has been a while since I spoke to you on such a direct note. I welcome you to the free energy times. It is a completely different concept to be in. It is not even a concept to be in, and that is what is making things so difficult. Some of you here might wonder, they didn't see the shift take place. Usually when I used to come into a body, I was quite a drama queen, as you used to call it in these old energy times that came before. But this time, it is much easier for energies such as this one to come in, because there is no longer a difference between that which you knew to be yourself and that which you know to be something else besides you. There is no difference. It is just one. It has blended as one. So that means that I'm not speaking to a large audience here. I'm not just talking about the people in the room. I don't mean the people that are going to be listening to this later on, or that are going to be reading this energy as it is transferred into words. I'm just talking to one audience now, to the one audience now, and the one audience being the collection of all that you would call divinity. So again, welcome to these free energy times. For those of you that are listening to these words at a later date and that have no recollection of my energy patterning, I will tell you this. I call myself of tachyonic service because I am that which you previously known as the rim between the known cosmos, the matter, the energy experience field that you are in, and that which lies beyond it. Most of you who have heard my words before and who have listened to these words before, they visualize a sort of barrier. They see a galaxy, several galaxies in fact, created in matter, created in energy, and then they see a sort of barrier, a rim around it, and what lies behind that rim. Nobody knows, because it isn't to be known. You can't know it with your physical brain. Yet, I am here to tell you that the tachyonic energy, that is the rim between matter and divinity, basically, is not to be found at the edge of some far-fetched galaxy millions and millions and millions of light years removed from where you are sitting right now on this blue planet Earth. It is to be found within you. It is to be found within those 144 lemniscarian cells. Within those cells, you have the atomic core, the nucleus, and that nucleus again goes into infinity, replicating itself in a microcosmic way, getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, until the laws of the material universe, the laws of physics, no longer can apply to it. And that is what happens. That is how matter eventually returns to a state of divinity. By applying itself in such a way that the laws of physics simply can no longer apply. The laws of physics only apply when you see yourselves as separate. The laws of physics only apply when you see yourselves as limited, as linear, because then there is something for gravity to hold on to pull. Then there is something for magnetics to push. If you are all that is, if you are all these energies combined together, then you are the known universe. And then the rim of that known universe and the unknown universe, I might add, is simply to be found within your very center. That is where the edge is. That is where the shift takes place between that which you have called old energy and that which you are now calling the free energy. Before I go into this, I have something else to add. There is a reason why I came in today and why you feel my spirits are so high right now, because the last time when I spoke, the year had a different date. It was 2007. And I said I would not speak again until you were ready, until you made the leap. Well, the leap has been made. And humanity is ready now to receive that which is called the free energy. I said I wouldn't speak again because my words had become meaningless. The only moment you could basically apply the free energy into your lives was the moment when you were to accept the full paradigm that you had been following for such a long time already. And the paradigm has been accepted. The paradigm has been re-emerging from within you now. And enough humans on planet Earth, calling themselves separate, have done this. So I can speak again. As you know, as Ekaraia has told you, before the year was out, the year 2007, all of that which you have called ascended masters, guides, spirits, all of these things that you could not see, you could only feel, have returned to the space called the central sun, to purge themselves of that which has come before, to purge themselves of basically the human condition in the old paradigm. And as always, I am the transport vessel. I am that which creates the portals. So I was able to take all of them in a blink of an eye to human experience and bring everybody back. This is what happened on January 28th. And I am now here, not as a solo speaker, so to speak, but within my energy field. You can feel all of these beings. You can feel you to begin with. You can feel all of these beings. The energies that you know as Tobias and Cryon and Adamus, although he likes to be called Adam G now, I had to mention this in these free energy times. All of these beings are more one now than ever before. You are more one now than ever before. And all that came before must now be seen within that paradigm. That all that came before dealt with the idea of separation. And that idea is now gone. It is no longer there within the new human paradigm. The new style of humanity, as Solaris has told you, is about infinite love and infinite joy and infinite freedom. And within the concept of infinity, separation can no longer hold. I will tell you another interesting remark about free energy. It goes like this. As you, listening, reading, and I, which can be called tachyonic, are now becoming more one than ever before, the need for many words is going away. That is why myself and all the others that you will sometimes hear will only speak when it is necessary. You do no longer need the external guidance. You no longer need the holding hands as you step over the bridge, wondering if the bridge is going to be able to hold you, if it is too decrepit or not. You don't need this anymore. As the free energy pours out of you, you are creating the bridge. You are the bridge, and you know this. So it means that my words may become a little less than what you have known before. It also means that there is going to be more of a one-on-one type of situation. Be expecting now that all of the energies that you have previously known, that have given themselves names, are going to talk to you, within you, and not so much outside of you. Oh, we are going to come through voices such as this one right now. But what better way to hear these words when they are spoken on the inside of you, when they are spoken to you with your own voice. That is also free energy. In the past, especially those called Adamus and Tobias and others, were always willing to give in to humanity. Always. Whenever humanity wanted a channeling somewhere, there they would appear, right on time for the show to happen. Now that they have been purified, these energies, they are not going to be as easy to give in to your requests. Because oftentimes when these requests were dealt with, it often meant that the human requesting them was choosing a slower path because they could not accept the truth from within. And the Ascended Masters saw it in such a way that it was better to give what the person wanted so that the path would become slower than to have the path stop completely. Now, it is about your own responsibility, more so than before. And I can't be but joyous. I remember last time coming into this body, sitting in front of a group of people, very grave, very serious, given the final warning, basically, about the great shift that was about to happen. But now, again, we can speak more freely than ever before. Even the concept of us being brothers and sisters is gone now. You can't call yourself a brother to yourself, can you? You are never going to look in the mirror as a human hologram and standing in front of that mirror and saying, "Hi, sister." You're going to say, "That is me." Well, when you're hearing these words now, that is you. It is you. It is that simple. And it has never been anything else but you. Another thing about the free energy times is that a lot of people are getting quite confused. And so it was that when Ekara, when coming back in together with all the other ones, was becoming aware of all the requests that had been given to him. "Oh, Ekara, do a channeling about geometry. Oh, Ekara, are you going to do a channeling about the children? Oh, Ekara, are you going to do a channeling about the 111 portal of January 28th? And Ekara looked at me with eyes that weren't there, but anyway, and he said to me, "Will you please handle it, Lemuaya? Because they don't get it yet. They need all these different messages now." If he had given in to that request, then the channeling and the information and the words that would come in would be less than whole. They would be less than holy, as you used to call it in your religions. Because what else is it that priests used to do in the past as they gathered their flock, their herd of humans around every couple of days and even sometimes every day, and they were to bring in new words again and new stories again? It is like a sweetener for a coffee that needs to be drunk the way it is, not modified, not altered by perceptions, not altered by stories. So this then is the only message that is going to be given today. And you know why? It is very interesting. Someone asked Ekara to give a message about children. Another one asked to give a message about geometry. A third one, sitting right here, wanted to know more and more and more and more about the 111 portal and the 28th of January. Now I ask you, aren't all of these things connected? That is why. And I don't usually do this, but since it is free energy, I do it anyway. I'm going to give this speech or teaching or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to give it a name. And it's going to be called Child's Play. For that is the core of what you should remember about the 111 portal. That is the core about the free energy coming in, and the children on this earth, and the geometry that comes with Lemurian techniques such as Ea Ichipa. It is all about child's play. You know, the Jeshua, who is the channel right now, was talking to somebody just the other day, and that person was talking about the fear of being vulnerable. And this person actually gave me a grand gift, because suddenly I knew how I could deliver this message here today. The fear of being vulnerable is something that you will never find within a child. It is something that geometry cannot do, and a free being in the free energy can definitely not fear vulnerability. I will even say this: a child turns the fear of being vulnerable when it sees an adult being into the need of being vulnerable within that adult being. You cannot love a child if you are not vulnerable. You see, this word vulnerability is actually a word that you could very well do without. So if you are going to rewrite your history, as governments have always done, maybe it would be a good time to also rewrite the dictionary and to take that word vulnerability away. I give you that the word vulnerability is just a cloak to not look at the love that is underneath. If you're going to keep any part of that word, maybe keep the part ability, because that's all that is needed. Vulnerability, my divine seekers, is only there when the love doesn't dare to flow. And that is the fear that actually turns into the fear of vulnerability. If you believe in love, if you believe in freedom, and if you believe in joy, then it'd be impossible for a person, any person, to be vulnerable. And that is why you feel so gooey when you hold a little one in your arms, because all of these barriers, they just meld away, and you see that the vulnerability has been a lie. And that is why I want to combine these topics now. Oh, maybe the human personality that has requested all of these channelings will not be very happy that they don't have their own unique channel, but they will have to live with it. For simply put, you cannot look at these concepts separately. You cannot look at a child on this earth today, and we're going to go into that in a moment. You cannot look at it without seeing the magnetics and the geometry, without seeing what the free energy is all about, and without seeing through the eyes of a child. And if you can do this, then you are in the child's play. There is a reason why a being such as Kutumi used to come in old energy times. He will come in also, but used to come in old energy times. And when he just started playing, At the beginning of every of his messages, he would sing, or he would make his audience laugh, he would dance, he would even joke. All of them very unholy, isn't it? Maybe a priest in Africa might do that, but not one in Europe, not one in America, not one of those people taking themselves and their scripture so effing seriously. It is unnecessary now to go into that level of sérieux. I had to put in a French word. It is unnecessary. Think of it this way. A child. Kutumi, as a child, has always told you about the nonsensical field, or the nonsense field, as he used to call it. Now imagine that you are a teacher in a kindergarten somewhere, and it is playtime, and you are walking around there as an adult, overlooking all these little children as they are in a supposed chaos running around, and they're just trying to cross you right in front of the legs so that you might even fall. How can the adult navigate through that field of play? By opening up to all the dimensions that are happening right there. For you see, the children that are playing at that moment aren't bothered by each other. They are connected in their own little universes that they are creating. And one might be playing with a football, and the other one might maybe be playing a different game altogether, and there might be a group over there who is just imagining they're on a spaceship or something, and they are having the greatest adventures of all. And then they start running around the playground, and another group comes in playing with the ball, and they just pass through each other, allowing each other to be whatever they want to be at that moment, and not bothered by each other. Now the Jeshua and Ekaraia and so many others have told you about the Passion Council in the old Lemuaya, and how the Passion Council specifically used to look at the schools towards the children to see how they set up their reality, and then to copy that into society. We talked about this. You all talked about this. Some are even trying out the concept, not knowing where to look, however. Imagine the playground once again. And imagine now that playground full with adults. And there is a group of adults over there playing football. And there is a group of adults over there talking about something that is so important like fashion. And then there is a group of adults over there, and the group over there, they raise a bet. And they say, I'll chase you to the other side, and I'll be the first one to cross that playground, and if I win I get $50. And imagine now the teacher walking around being a small child. I think that child would be very shocked when all of these worlds of the adults start to merge, because they wouldn't have the ability to cross the playground and never breach into the reality of the other one. I guess they would put up a fight. It's what politicians do all the time. You're in my space, you're not supposed to be here. It's what religion does all the time. You are wrong about God, we are right about God. It's even what the fashion world does all the time, the business world. We have the best solution, not you. It's what everybody as an adult is doing all the time. So the kid, that is then the teacher, at that moment, would probably just wave his arms up in the air and say, I am out of here. And this is exactly what your children have now done. They have raised their arms up and they've seen society the way it is. And they have said, we are out of here. Oh, we're not going to leave the planet. That's not what they said. We're not going to die en masse. That's not what they said. They just said, we're not going to play your game anymore. We're not going to play the game of humanity being separate and small and insignificant. And so today, you see all of these children waking up at a very young age, and one is a wonderful painter, and another one sits in front of a piano and starts to play, and another one just talks to a whole bunch of United Nations people, let's say. And another one just has the ability to stand in front of its mother and look at her and change her life. And if she doesn't want to change, then simply let her play her game. That is what the children of today are choosing. We're not going to give you another message of what it means to be indigo or crystal or sun children or whatever type of child. For these parameters and paradigms are also fading away. They are not necessary anymore to name all of these different groups. What is necessary, however, is look through the child's eye. And in the course of this message, Divine Seekers, we are going to do just that. So let's begin. Let's see how a child looks at reality. Imagine a living room. That's where we'll start in. And there is a child in the living room, and the child is playing with whatever tool it has to play with, maybe even its imagination. And the mother of that child and the father are not in the living room. One is upstairs, the mother is upstairs doing a chore like ironing or something, which the child doesn't understand. And the father is somewhere away on a business trip, which the child doesn't understand, because it doesn't see the need for all of this to happen. And the child is just there in the living room. And in the free energy times, you can be the same as the child. And this is something that you must know. The child is sitting there, playing with its reality. It is seeing friends that parents would not see. It is seeing colors. It is actually seeing, and that is what the children of today are doing, seeing the energy matrix that is making up reality. You think that your children today look at you and see the same thing than you see when they are looking in the mirror? It's not true. And especially not the little ones. I'm telling you now that all children that have come into this earth for 3 years already are not seeing the same reality than you are seeing. They are seeing colors, and they are seeing what they don't understand to be vibration or frequency and all that, because they don't need a name for it. And they are seeing what is real, and they see the connections between people, and they see a book lying somewhere and they know what it is about. They see a dog somewhere and they know what the dog is about. They see a person and they know if that person is accessible or not. And so the child is playing, and the child understands it is the creator, until some school system comes along to take that knowledge away, at least. But that won't happen now, not in these times. Child is just sitting there, aware of the fact that when it looks at the walls and when it looks at the building blocks it is playing with, and it looks at the window and it looks at all the objects in the room, it understands that it is coming out of her. That is what the child knows, because that is what it sees. That is the natural eyesight that actually goes hand in hand with being human on a free planet Earth. It sees that everything it is creating is simply coming out of it, and that is its reality. So then, does it care if the mother is upstairs? Does it care if the father is away somewhere on a business trip? No. No, because that is at that time not a part of its reality. Unless the child is made dependent, of course, and made separate, because that is the moment when it will start missing its parents. For you see, the mother that is upstairs and the father that is maybe countries removed on his trip, to the child seem no further apart. The child knows that when the mother is not physically present within the reality it is sitting in, that the mother is simply inside of it, in the arcane, within the essence of itself. And the father too. And it is the father and the mother who are stupid enough to believe in the concept of time and space. So the father thinks he's 5,000 kilometers removed and missing his family. The mother thinks, "Ooh, I should check on the child. Maybe it's eating some of its cubes or something and it's choking on it." The child itself just sees the parents within. So what happens then when the mother is about to come downstairs? It's very simple. And some of you already talked about this. But it is available now, so I want to put it out there for everybody to hear. As the mother starts making the choice to come downstairs, something changes within her energy field. It is getting ready, that field, to be connected again, exteriorly so, to the child. So the child feels this within the arcane. And how does it feel it? Not because it thinks, "Oh, mother made a decision, she's coming downstairs." No, what she feels, that child sitting there, let's call her Lucy. What Lucy feels is a pattern happening around her, emerging from her. It is the mother coming out of her yet again. And she feels the energy building up, becoming stronger, becoming more, becoming real. And at the moment when it reaches a climax, be sure that the mother will appear physically visible at the top of the staircase and coming down towards the child. That is how the child perceives reality. Another thing about free energy that we would like to share now with you. Again, in the same example, the mother coming down the stairs, and the child immediately becomes alert because it feels what the mother is going through. The mother actually is very worried because her husband should have come home 2 days ago, and she's been thinking about him, and maybe he's having an affair, whatever, old energy bullshit. But the mother is coming down, and the child feels the worry within the energy field of the mother, not because it is telepathic or whatever, but because it is empathic. And what is empathy in the free energy times? It is very simple. Empathy is feeling what is happening within you. Because as the child, of course, unaware of all the theory I'm talking about now, because the theory is just there to stimulate the mind into non-mind. The child, as it sees the mother come down, has created, basically, the energy field that it now sees as its mother. It has projected this outside of itself. So Lucy knows what her mother is thinking and feeling because she is the creator of the energy that the mother is using to display herself in the reality of the child. Everybody who has been on this path has always said that they understand the I am concept. I am the center of all things. I am the universe, no? That child is doing it naturally. It is the universe and the center of it. And everything that is going on around it, it is creating. So these children, the only reason why they are so sensitive, the only reason why they are so special, some would say, the only reason why they have these abilities is because they are constantly aware of their own creation. Older humans, coming from old energy paradigms and stepping into this right now, still have to let go of separation, still have to remember that they are not the ones that are separate from the chair, but that they are the chair. I remember transporting ekaraia in the course of 2007 to Charleston Rock, Cathedral Rock, and him talking to the trees and talking to the rocks and talking to the animals and hearing the voice of somebody on the other side of the planet. Did you think that this ekaraia person had extraordinary perception, or that he had special abilities that others do not have? If you think this, you are wrong. He was just in line with his natural ability, and so was the one he was hearing on the other side of the planet called AI. They were just in line completely with their natural ability to be aware. And the children of this era are becoming that again. It had been taken away. And there are others who will tell you about DNA manipulation and interference in the human race and everything, but I am not here today to give you that message. I am here today to give you the message that the cosmic DNA, which is all of you, is restoring itself. It is self-healing. It is a natural condition. Which means that in the period of the self-healing, you are going to have to go through the healing process with it. I understand that you believe that you are now in the free energy times, and this is indeed true. You have created this. What you must also believe, however, is that there are still a lot of belief systems keeping you from fully accessing that energy from within. One of the major belief systems, of course, as you all know, is separation. That which the child no longer has. It is this which is going to create a lot of conflict between parents and children. Because, you see, even though in the last 3 years children had been born with this ability again reinstalled in them naturally, the other ones are going to start to catch up, and they're going to catch up really, really fast. It's not so that these other ones are doomed to go through the same paradigm that all humanity has been in. They are going to go through it quicker, because they have been on this planet for a much shorter time. And the bodies had already been prepared to handle the new free energy. So it is happening already. And the older children, it's gonna work its way up, you see. It's gonna start with the 4-year-olds and the 5-year-olds and the 6-year-olds, until it catches up with the 80-year-olds and the 90-year-olds. You've always said that everybody who is here on this planet now, as the portals have been passed, need not go away, need not reincarnate again into the planet. It is unnecessary. It is a belief system. It is a belief system stemming forth from the mental energy of beginning, middle and end, that your life must have a beginning and that your life must have an end. Why else do you think the whole reincarnation game began? The reincarnation game was simply there to make sure that you would come back. As Solaris has told you, the team on this planet Earth and on all the other planets has always been the same, and it has always been you. That is what she has said, and that is what I am now repeating to you. So these children, as they are catching up, as they are preparing this tidal wave, basically, of free energy, will rip apart your shields, rip apart all your limitations. They will not allow them to be there, you see. At the same time, others will speak in my place, such as Solaris, or with any name you want to give them. And they will give you practical tools so that you can work with this free energy better than before. When Solaris will come back in, she will present to you 5 times exercises about creation. And you know this. And as she does, she will teach you about the inner portal, which would be the ekaraia. And she will teach you about imagination and about play, because that is what needs to happen. If humanity wanted to have a good look at itself, all it needs to do is look to the playground of the kindergarten and see if it is doing what they are showing you. The same thing for the house people live in with their children. They organize this house, and then they expect the children living in the house to behave according to what they want it to be like. And the children think, duh. If you believe that the chair is separate from you, I don't have to, and I can do what I want here. So maybe in the living room situation, behind closed curtains, you should also start accepting that these guides have come here to show you. And I tell you this, within one human generation, it doesn't need to take reincarnations, it doesn't need to take all of these things like training and whatever. Within one human generation, which is already present on planet Earth, lies the answer. Some would say you still have a long way to go. Some would say the path is infinite, and indeed it is infinite. But not the path that you are on right now. That is temporary. And you have already swayed away from that path. And you are now just in the curve of walking back to the original path. And that is what the portals that you have gone through since September 2007 have all been about. A diversion in the road of humanity. In its wake, there will still be a lot of old energy trying to make its way with you, because that is simply what humanity does. There is always a beginning, and then all this heaviness here at the back of the energy movement tries to follow. Understand this. The path that you are now on will not accept old energy paradigms. It is literally not compatible. So, as it will be hard in the beginning to steer this ship into another direction, after a while you will start to find that all of those who are automatically coming with you will quicken as well, because they will also step into this free energy portal. Another note on this portal, now that we are talking about this anyway. You thought that the Earth was going through the January 28th portal, the 1111, and you were wrong. It wasn't the Earth. It was those choosing the portal completely. Just a few, but those choosing it. And now that they have gone through it, I say a few, but actually it's more than you would consider a few. It's what I would consider a few. That those that have gone through it now have the ability to find that portal within. And as you open it up, in the presence of anyone, it will help them to quicken. It will help them to find that portal also. For it has always been a portal to the inside. And some were here who woke up on January 28 and didn't feel a damn thing different. And then they thought, oh shite, I've been had. Everything that has been said was wrong. It's not true. Oh, I me. Yes, human suffering can be so pleasant. However, those people then did not look within. If they looked within, they would see their brilliance. And they would see this huge amount of light, which is basically the coming together of love and joy and freedom in all its frequencies. And they would find here this ability to help millions and millions and millions of versions of him or herself. Because that is why the inner portal is needed. You are all reflections of each other. Creating an external portal would be creating separation. I'm speaking now here in Mount Shasta. And those who are here right now, they believe they are at the foot of a huge portal. And it is true. It is true, you are at the foot of a major vortex. But what do you think this vortex does as it opens up your portal? Do you think a fantastic light will appear in front of you and you can step through that? No, the light appears on the inside of you. And that is what the vortex, the portal that is Shasta, that is Shastaya, really does. It opens up the portal within. And you shift from within. You change locations from within. You see? And that is how you choose your reality. Coming back to that playground with all these children, the adult still saw the children running around in seeming chaos. But the children were all stepping through their own portal. And they were creating, based on free energy, what they at that moment wanted to experience. And some part of their consciousness, yes, they kind of remained attached to the teacher running around there, trying to keep this bunch of chaotic ones in order. And just a little thread going there, remembering that that is where they were supposed to be if they're going to do work on the planet. But they'd be damned if they stuck to it all the time. So whenever they have a chance, the children just went away. And keep this lifeline towards that teacher within them, actually. Knowing that at one point when this buzzer came around, this bell, they would have to re-emerge into this reality. That is actually a very interesting exercise that you can do for yourselves. How do you do it? You must be aware of the fact that you are needed on this planet Earth right now. So, unfortunately, I must also tell you, like others have done so before, that you cannot completely go away. You have to remain here in this reality to bring in the energy of your own inner portal. And it's even easier than you think. You don't have to open up this portal inside of you and then let the energy beam out of it. No. We're talking about cosmic DNA here. And if all of you are a part of that cosmic DNA, one will begin to mimic the other. And that is the cool thing about free energy times. Why is it called free energy? It's very simple. Because the free energy no longer accepts input from the mind or the personality or the ego. So the free energy is basically overriding the old energy. And whatever a free energy portal or person will come into contact with an old energy person, it will simply override the old energy. Not because it will force something onto the other reflection of itself, but because from within the other will start to wake up, simply. And that is overriding. That is what is available here on this earth right now. And that is why so many of those sinister plans that have been talked about on earth are not going to find a foothold. I understand that most of you here and so many others out there are afraid of what might come, are afraid of technology, are afraid of being captured somewhere on a computer screen basically, are afraid of the diseases out there, are afraid of what governments are really doing now that it's coming up what they are really doing. And I'm telling you, there is no need to fear, because all of those plans, all of those things that are supposed to happen, created by a little group called the major government, the shadow cabinets and all that, will not find a foothold. It is impossible for it to happen now. You see. Does this mean you have to ignore it? No. It just simply means you have to be aware of it. And you have to understand your true power that is within you. And again, I refer you back to the child. Have you noticed how children today will not accept you telling them what to do? Have you noticed how children today will not accept it if you try to put your reality onto them? They simply don't accept it until you beat them down long enough, usually psychologically. In some cases, unfortunately, also physically. But usually the child is beaten down psychologically, put in some sort of training camp that you call a school, which is basically a concentration camp, if you look at a conscious point of view, to install a mind into that child, so the child will think it will have to succeed in this society, while in effect it has already succeeded by just coming in. And this is also something that you must understand. In the free energy times, you have already succeeded. You have already undefined all that is you. And what you now are simply doing is a shift of focus. That is it. And that is what you must understand. You are shifting your focus. Shifting the focus from that which you have called the personality and the mind and the ego, and shifting it now to oneness and awareness. And that is freedom. So, instead of trying to fight yourselves within and out there, in the streets and in the war zones, all you just have to do is allow yourselves, well, basically to die. That which you have called death before. when the personality was forced to stop through the ego and the mind. You are now choosing the personality to stop. You are choosing it. And this is something that we want to talk about as well. Because if you are going to look at choice in these free energy times, and you look at potential, and we have previously explained the difference, choice is where you simply select what you want to create, and potential is basically that which is around you from which you can select, yes? So if you are going to choose potentials, if you're going to go into that array of choice, then you are going to see that the potentials that humanity has been creating as of late have become truly sad and decrepit. Imagine one of these new children, these children that are now again free. Imagine them. Imagine when they grow up a little bit further and they are going into the school system and they go through a couple of years and they can't be beaten down because they won't allow it to happen. And then you say to that child, well, now you have the choice. Here are all the potentials of jobs you can look at. You can become a doctor or a lawyer, whatever. You can become somebody following the economy. You can become this or that or that. And the child will just say, that's not what I choose. Within the potential that you have given me, I don't find my liking. And that's when the school system will start to crumble. The interesting thing is that all of those you would call the last generation indigos are now already pretty grown up, and they are ready to step into the universities. They have been programmed by their own higher self, by the own oneness, to stay quiet, fairly quiet, as they went through the first grade and the second grade, etc. And now they are ready for their true homecoming onto the planet Earth. And as they step out of the high schools and go on to the universities and the colleges, that's when they are no longer going to accept the paradigm. Because they have just followed the high school system and everything that came before so that they could learn, they could absorb what was really going on the planet. And they've been told about the false history, and they've been told about the false economy that is out there, and they've been told what it means, supposedly, to be human. And now they have to make the choice. And they are not going to accept the potentials that colleges and universities are putting out there. And especially not some old fart who is going to tell them what to do. Who is going to tell them that this is reality. Let me talk about physics. Do you really think that one of these children is going to accept the laws of physics? When they in their room for years have practiced levitation, when they in their room for years have noticed that they could just do this naturally, except for when mommy came in, because when mommy came in, she would not accept this in her reality, and she, the child, was creating mommy, so all of a sudden the reality around her would change. But when the child was alone, and I am now talking not just about 10 or 20 children across the planet, I am talking about all of them. Your children too, when they were alone in their room, they were performing that which you would then call a miracle. And what is a miracle? When something does not fit within the predefined set of physics laws. That's a miracle. And that's what these children have been doing all along. And they have been asked to stay quiet, but they will no more. And that is what is right ahead. You have always been told about the economical system failing and the political system failing and even the religious system failing. And that's what it is. It is a system designed to keep you in a state of mind. Everything on this planet is. You know this. Money, politics, religion, all just there to keep you within a frame of mind, a prison of mind, framed. You were framed like a butterfly in some picture. However, that frame of mind, they do not have. So these children, are not going to allow these economical laws and political laws and religious laws to continue. Do you understand? They are now becoming the spenders. They are now becoming those that actually should have been trained to be the next, I'm going to use a word that is known by David Icke, sheep that would be put into the machine. Only they are not sheep, they are lions. They are not going to be quiet. They are going to be strong. They are not going to do what they are told to do. They are going to choose what to do. Do you know, for instance, that many of these children don't even like what you are feeding them? Most parents go back to their childhood and they say, I used to like, for instance, Coca-Cola, so I'll make sure it is in the house for when the child is in the house, so I can give that to the child. They have never liked it. You must understand this about children. They have played your game. They have allowed your game on this planet Earth to exist up until now. And now they will no longer play that game. They will no longer support the rules of the game. And what else are the rules of your games than the economical system and the political system and the religious system? Finances, separation, all the illusions. All of those were the predefined rules of your game. And they are no longer accepting this. So if you want to know what to do with your children, don't do anything with them. Let them be, for crying out loud. Let them be who they want to be. You see, the channel here, and so many others, like Adam, in the last few weeks have been connecting to the net and have been talking to these children. And Adam is, in a couple of minutes, hopefully, going to do a Q&A session based on the questions that these children have asked. And this is going to be a very interesting Q&A session because the children are not physically here. They will be here within the arcanaic energy when this is going to occur, and they will be asking the questions. I already know one of their questions. And the biggest question that they have right now is, how can we make sure that we get all the adults onto this arcanet? How can we make sure? What can we do? So I'm not going to answer that for them. I'm going to let Adam do that. But what I do want to say about this topic before we move on to the next is listen. Please listen to these special souls that came in. They are you again. And that is so very important. They are you again. There is no difference between them and you, except for the fact that there is a personality veil around them. But they have played that they accepted this veil. They have never really accepted it. You see? And most of you adults, you have fully accepted it. They didn't. They just put it on like they put on a costume and play a game. So look for these signs that they are going to take their costume off. How will you know if they are doing it? Because you will begin recognizing yourself again. To all of those humans out there who cannot accept themselves in the free energy, who cannot accept themselves who they truly are, that they are individual, sovereign oneness, come together in awareness. If you can't find it within yourself, if you can't look in the mirror and see yourself for real, then look towards these beautiful portals, because that is what the children are. And they will show you. Not in the old meaning of showing you. They will show you. You see. Actually, it's the same job that so many of the animals have done on the planet. But that you were so thickly stuck within this matrix that you then think, ooh, that's a cute cat. And it's so very sweet and it's loving. Ooh, why does it attack me? All of a sudden. It's you. It's you that you're seeing. It is simply showing you what you basically are. First it shows the love, for instance, and then it shows you pushing something else away, like you so often do. They couldn't speak, at least not to those who wouldn't listen, the animals. The children will speak, and they will talk of this in great detail. And this is one of the things that I am aware of right now that Solaris will be doing as she will come in. She will invite all those children that are currently already on the Akhenet to speak together with her. And that's where you're going to see the proof. Because humanity loves proof, even in a free energy. If you are going to listen to these messages that Solaris is going to bring you, and if you are going to hear them and practice them, all of a sudden a child will walk up to you and say, I know what you are doing. I know what you are trying to reach. I heard you. And they're not going to do it on the Akhenet so that you can doubt it. They're just going to come up to you. And maybe another exercise, like creating the butterflies, which she already gave you. They might just come up to you and say, I do that all the time, Mommy. Child's play. A child will never, ever hate another unless it has been programmed to do so. There has been an explanation or some sort of thing that you used to say on old planet Earth. And it goes like this. You used to say that children could be the cruelest creatures of all. Because there would be those teachers, and then they would look at the child playing with another child, and they would see how it takes the ball away from that child, or kicks it, or hits it, or yells at it, or whatever. And they will say, children can be the cruelest of all. No. What they're showing you is your old programming starting to work within them. That's you doing that. That's how you act. And you all want to protect these children. Well, in protecting them, don't put them into the machine. Don't put them into the supposed educational system. It is not necessary anymore. And those who are left alone, those who are left to be free, will come to you and will tell you in the coming weeks, as Solaris will give her exercises, will tell you, I've been doing that too. And they will finally see that you are open, and then they can share their truth as you will begin sharing yours. So this is a complete deprogramming happening here. You adult people who thought you were ruling the world, even that wasn't true. You just were made to believe that. You thought you were ruling the world, and now you will start again to be the sovereign king and queen of you. And that's the promise that has been given such a long time ago. It can become true right now. So with that in mind, or somewhere at least, let's look at geometry and magnetics. Let's look at the concepts of Ea Ichipa. Meaning, very simply put, translated into English, two things. Being here now, stepping into infinity. You know this. Actually, all that I have spoken about right up to now has been about geometry. It has been about magnetics. It has been the sensation of what you feel when you go into one of those geometric magnetic exercises, as some of you here on this earth have already experienced. Geometry is not created from outside of you. It is created from within. It is created from the akene, like everything. Geometry is simply a language of your akene within a field of frequency and vibration. Otherwise it does need no language. Nothing at all. Because be out, that's a nice word, be out there is basically a no vibration, no frequency state. So there is no need to exchange something to somebody else. I am of photonic, tachyonic service. It is the photons and the tachyons within the universe that is you, that is basically doing the translation of the oneness and the awareness into vibration and frequency. And how it is happening is the very simple bridge of that which you call geometry and magnetics. I'm not going to explain that sentence again, for it is not really important. It is just important for those who want to know how the translation from oneness into the supposed human cell of the body really takes place. But if you are going to do these exercises, you are going to have to trust yourselves. If you are wanting to do this Ea Ichipa, as it used to be called in Lemuaya, you are going to have to trust your own oneness, your own sense of this oneness within you. You see? That's the only way it works. It's always been said that you need put nothing exterior into yourself. No rules, no movements, no nothing. It just has to come from within you. And again, this is child's play. So now you know, in the free energy, you are creating everything that is around you. And you knew this before. So some could say, oh my God, it's a repeat message. It is not. It is an invocation. It is a request. Now that you have taken the leap to start using, really using that which you know. And look at the examples that are all around you to begin using them. That's all there is to it. So you've stepped into the new paradigm. The free energy time is here. And it also means that you need to begin working with it. The faster you will do that, the quicker you will see the results all around you. I thank you for allowing this voice to speak again. Because I meant it when I said a while ago that if the changes were not coming, it would have been impossible to speak again. Although this is a teaching that is given to you in a free energy time, it is using an old matrix to do so. Because this is still one of those teachings that you are listening to, sitting and listening to, in some cases knitting and listening to. Yet, again, when Solaris, the ekaraia of the universe basically, will speak the love within all of you, it will be free energy. Because this is going to be about empowering you, not from without, not from someplace else, but from within you. Again, I cannot tell you how different this is going to be, but it has been coming for a very long time, and it will be here very soon. In a couple of your human days, in fact, which is just a timeline that we are given, not one that you need to follow, but one that you need so that you can prepare for it. I find myself blabbering at the end of this message. And that is probably because, as usual, I don't want to go away. Because I know I've told you the 4 points that I needed to tell you today, but what I don't see yet, as I am looking at you, is that you are applying it. So that is going to be very frustrating for the next one to come in, Adam. I hope that you understand that in applying the teaching, you become the teacher. That in applying the teaching, you become the portal. And that from within is where I will now speak to you in the coming days. You are blessed beings for making the journey. You are blessed for the adventures that you have gone through already in your human experience. And you are blessed for being here now. Thank you for being the teachers on this planet Earth. And this goes out to all Shambra, Imzaia, light workers, everybody who wants to have a voice. And so it be.